Almost everyone chases happiness like it's a prize buried somewhere down the road. They tell themselves the feeling will finally arrive once the raise comes through, once the house is paid off, once they land the right person, once they've built a life impressive enough to silence their own doubts. But look closely at history, and a different pattern emerges. Emperors sat on thrones and still felt hollow. Men who owned entire fortunes died feeling like they'd owned nothing at all. Icons the world envied were quietly falling apart behind closed doors. And yet, some of the most respected minds in human history had almost no possessions and moved through their days with a calm most people never touch. What separated them wasn't luck or circumstance or timing. It was a single realization. Happiness isn't something you stumble upon. It's something you build deliberately from the inside. If you want that steadiness, not just on the good days, but on the days that test you, there are old, proven principles that can rewire how you move through every single one of them. The real question is this: what actually produces happiness on a daily basis? Principle 1. Stop postponing your life until it's flawless. The heaviest weight most people carry isn't hardship itself. It's the quiet belief that peace has to wait until the hardship ends. Without even noticing, people push joy into the future. I'll feel good once I get promoted, once the money's better, once I find the right person, once I finally own the house I've pictured, once people finally see my worth. None of this sounds unreasonable on its surface. Ambition is natural, and there's nothing wrong with wanting more. But left unchecked, this mindset quietly turns into a cage. People become so locked onto the next milestone that the life happening right now slips past them unlived. They trade today's contentment for a future payoff that, when it finally shows up, somehow never delivers what it promised. Psychologists have a name for this loop: the hedonic treadmill, where every gain resets your baseline and leaves you chasing the next one just to feel normal again. You can see this play out in real data. Researchers who studied lottery winners found something strange. Within about a year, most had drifted back down to roughly the same happiness level they had before the money ever arrived, occasionally even lower once the novelty wore off and new problems crept in. The mind isn't built to register how far it's come. It's built to notice the gap between where it is and where it wants to be next. So the moment one goal is met, the goalposts move again, silently, before you even get to enjoy the win. That's not a character flaw. It's simply how the brain regulates itself, which means chasing your way out of that loop was never going to work. The only real exit is changing what you're paying attention to in the first place. The way out is simple to state, harder to practice. Anchor yourself to what you're doing today, not what you're hoping to receive tomorrow. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that the quality of his day was determined by the quality of his thoughts, not by the events on his calendar. So what does this look like in practice? It means doing your work with excellence, because the work itself is the reward. Loving the people in your life right now, not when they finally become who you want them to be. Noticing the small, ordinary graces, the way morning light cuts through the window, the warmth of a genuine conversation, the simple fact that your heart is still beating. These moments aren't trivial. They are the raw material of a happy life, but only if you are present enough to absorb them. Joy is not locked behind a future achievement. It is scattered across your day like diamonds in the dust, waiting for you to notice. That's the first shift. Principle 2. Shrink your wants instead of feeding them. Seneca put it plainly: it is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor. His point wasn't that money is dangerous. It's that becoming enslaved to endless craving is what destroys a person. Someone with barely anything can feel completely at peace, while someone sitting on a fortune can feel like a beggar if their appetite never stops expanding. Picture pouring water into a bucket with a crack running through the bottom. It doesn't matter how much you pour in, the bucket stays empty because it was never built to hold anything. That's exactly how unchecked desire behaves. Each new win delivers a short burst of satisfaction, and then, almost immediately, the mind starts scanning for the next thing to want. Contentment never gets the chance to settle, because it keeps draining out through the same crack. This cycle doesn't exist in isolation. It's constantly fed by a culture that quietly equates net worth with self-worth and frames every quiet moment as a missed opportunity to optimize. Social comparison acts like oxygen on the fire of desire. You were content with your car until a neighbor pulled in with a newer model. You felt fine about your career until someone younger earned a faster promotion. The Stoics trained themselves to short-circuit this reflex by deliberately imagining loss, a practice they called premeditatio malorum, not to live in fear, but to reboot their appreciation for what already stood in front of them. When you regularly visualize how easily things could be taken away, desire loosens its grip. You stop needing more because you start genuinely valuing what is. None of this means abandon ambition. Work hard, aim high, build something real. Just never let yourself believe that the next acquisition, the next win, the next round of approval is finally going to be the one that satisfies you. Contentment doesn't come from acquiring more. It comes from appreciating what's already in your hands while you calmly move toward what's next. Real wealth was never about how much a person accumulates. It's measured by how little they actually require to feel whole. Principle 3. Let discipline be the engine, not motivation. The Stoics understood something most people never fully absorb. Discipline isn't a tool for achievement. It's what protects you from being run by your own impulses, moods, and whatever chaos the day throws at you. What feels good in the moment rarely lines up with what actually serves you later. Skipping the gym, putting off what matters, spending money you don't have, losing hours to your phone, all of it feels harmless in real time, and all of it quietly leaves behind guilt, tension, or regret once the moment passes. The real payoff of discipline was never money, status, or applause. It's becoming a person who stays composed when everything around them destabilizes. Disciplined people don't freeze under pressure because they've already trained themselves to act from principle instead of reacting from emotion. Genuine freedom isn't waking up motivated or having ideal conditions line up in your favor. It's acting rightly, regardless of how you feel or what the circumstances look like, simply because that's who you've decided to be. Think about the difference between two people facing the same setback: a lost deal, a cancelled plan, a hard conversation that didn't go their way. One reacts purely on impulse, lashing out or spiraling into panic because their emotional state is steering the ship. The other has already built the habit of pausing, checking their values, and choosing the next right action, regardless of how unsettled they feel inside. That second person isn't happier because life treats them more gently. They're happier because they've removed their own instability as a threat to their peace. That decision, repeated daily, is what discipline actually builds, and that foundation is what makes lasting happiness possible in the first place. There's a neurological reason this works. Every time you override an impulse, choosing the difficult conversation over avoidance, the workout over the couch, the focused hour over the mindless scroll, you strengthen the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for executive control. At the same time, you quiet the limbic system's demand for instant gratification. This isn't poetic metaphor, it's neural rewiring. Over time, what once felt like a brutal act of will becomes a calmer, quieter preference. You're no longer locked in a civil war with yourself. You're simply operating as the person you've trained yourself to be. And that shift, from internal warfare to internal alignment, is where a profound, durable happiness takes root. Principle 4. Give without keeping score. One of the most common misunderstandings about happiness is the assumption that it's fueled by what you receive. There's nothing wrong with pursuing your own goals, but the Stoics recognized that a life oriented purely around taking eventually collapses in on itself. So instead, they asked a different question: What can I add to someone else's day right now with what I already have? Marcus Aurelius believed people were built to work in concert with one another, the same way hands cooperate without thinking or feet move in step without needing to be told. To him, helping someone wasn't just a nice gesture layered on top of life. It was the whole point of living in line with human nature. Giving to others doesn't drain your own happiness. More often, it multiplies it. Even modern research backs this up. Acts of genuine generosity light up the same neural pathways tied to pleasure, connection, and emotional well-being, what's sometimes called the helper's high. When you help someone without an angle, your brain rewards you for it, easing stress and lifting mood in the process. The people who feel most fulfilled were rarely the ones who accumulated the most. They were the ones who gave the most of themselves, with wisdom, without strings attached, and without waiting for anything in return. Build your days around these 4 shifts, and happiness stops being a destination you're always approaching and never reaching. It becomes the natural residue of how you already choose to live, today and every day after it.